The President is going to address the nation and presumably announce his resignation in a half an hour from now.
People will be at television sets and radios tonight to hear what the President has to say.
Just a moment now, the President of the United States will begin his speech, perhaps his last speech from the White House.
The Watergate scandal, an incident that occurred in 1972, led to the demise of Nixon's presidency. During Nixon's first term, he had made significant progress in ending the Vietnam War, which had brought about significant anti-war protests. As Nixon campaigned for his second term, he found Senator McGovern to be quite a problem. McGovern campaigned aggressively and often attacked the president personally. Nixon allowed his advisors to smear McGovern's reputation without having to get his hands dirty, and most polls showed him leading by overwhelming percentages. Never-seen-before fundraisers were organized to re-elect the president, and as a result, Nixon pulled out a landslide victory. During Nixon's second term of presidency, the post-war economic expansion and consumer prosperity was coming to an end. Nixon combated the trade deficit by taking the United States off the gold standard. This worked for a while until a war broke out between Syria, Egypt, and Israel in 1973. As a result, oil prices were quadrupled, which led to a stagnant economy. A slight thaw in the Cold War was also made between the United States and the Soviet Union. Major agreements under arms control treaties were created, and this boosted Nixon's popularity. However, his popular reputation was about to come crashing down. At 2:30 a.m. on June 17, 1972, police caught 5 men trying to break into as well as wiretap the offices of the Democratic National Committee. During court proceedings later that year, it was revealed that the burglars were connected to the committee to re-elect the president. Nixon claimed, "I'm determined that we should get to the bottom of the matter and that the truth should be fully brought out, no matter who is involved." Nixon's advisors, John and Ehrlichman and H.R. Haldeman, were discovered in the involvement of the burglary after investigation. Judge John J. Searcia received a letter from James McCord, who was convicted. He claimed that the burglary was part of a larger political conspiracy. Accordingly, the judge urged a congressional investigation instituted by the Irvin Committee. During these hearings regarding Watergate, John Dean's testimony flipped the Senate on Nixon. Dean asserted that Nixon not only knew about the break-in, but also approved the payment of hush money to the Watergate conspirators. Then, the testimony of the former presidential appointments secretary, Alexander Butterfield, revealed the existence of several tapes, recorded in the Oval Office since 1970. Nixon refused to turn the tapes over to the Irvin Committee. He cited the constitutional doctrine of the separation of powers. He felt that his executive privilege justified his defiance of a subpoena issued by Prosecutor Archibald. Nixon finally submitted the tapes in October as a response to the growing demands.
There's a lack of confidence in the conduct of the war and so forth. If we start, simpering around and catering to these bastards, hell, they just eat us alive.
We must keep up the attack on the media. You've got to keep destroying their credibility.
The tapes not only suggested Nixon's involvement in the Watergate scandal, but they also decreased his popularity further because they revealed an immoral and vulgar side of him. Then, in August 1974, the House Judiciary Committee voted to recommend that President Nixon be impeached for conspiracy to obstruct justice. Nixon became the first American president ever to resign on August 9, 1974. The Watergate scandal resulted in both short-term and long-lasting consequences. The incident led to the resignation of Nixon. Liberals who had despised Nixon throughout his presidency rejoiced in his demise. Nixon's vice president, Spiro T. Agnew, resigned after it was revealed that he had accepted bribes from construction firms as the governor of Maryland. After Nixon's downfall, several more Senate hearings were held. It was discovered that the FBI had spied on millions of Americans and tried to disrupt the civil rights movement. The entire executive branch's reputation quickly became tarnished because of the numerous convictions that emerged from the scandal. Watergate ultimately undermined the nation's trust in its leaders and raised lasting debates regarding the Constitution and the powers of the presidency.